Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today is Thursday, April 7th, and you are attending the Awareness webinar series, and today's webinar is entitled 30-Minute Social Media Marketing. We have a great speaker joining us, Susan Ganelius, and we have lots of attendees, and we're going to make it a very informative, interactive session. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Sal Gilberto, and welcome. So today, who will you be hearing from? You'll be hearing from your presenter, Susan Ganelius, President and CEO of Keysplash Creative, which is a marketing communications company. She's also the author of several books that you can see there, and in particular, her newest book is 30-Minute Social Media Marketing. And that's also the title of her presentation, so she's going to be taking some highlights from the book. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Sal.
Welcome. And my name is Sal Gilberto, and I'm a marketing manager here at Awareness. And you can contact me sal.gilberto@awarenessnetworks.com. My Twitter handle is there as well. Let's talk a little bit about a couple of housekeeping items. If you have questions and you want to make this interactive, there's a couple ways that you can submit them. We encourage you to submit your questions via Twitter. You can submit them via Twitter using #Awareness Inc. You can also submit questions right in the WebEx chat. So you see the chat on the right. You can submit your questions there. You can also contact WebEx. If you're having technical difficulties, we do have WebEx support on the line, and they can help you with any sort of audio, visual problems. But you can also submit your questions to us. We will be fielding questions at the end of the presentation for Susan to answer. We'll also be trying to answer them as we go as best as possible. So we're going to try to make this informative and interactive. Just to let everyone know, one last housekeeping item, this session is being recorded. So if you do have to jump out of the session for any reason, if you get cut off or if you go to a meeting, we will record this. We will email out the link with the recorded session tomorrow or perhaps Monday, depending on how fast you can process it. So just to start, I just want to talk a little bit about Awareness. Many of you have attended these webinars before. Some of you have not. Who is Awareness? Awareness is a company that makes software for marketers. That's all we do. That is our primary business objective, is to make software for marketers. And our flagship product is the Social Marketing Hub, which is a social media management tool, allowing you to, as it sounds, manage all of your social media in one centralized place. We work with, as you can see from this slide, some of the largest customers, largest brands in the world, as you can see on the lower left. And we partner with some of the largest agencies in the world, as you can see from the lower right, to bring the Social Marketing Hub to customers. But don't let that fool you. We also have small and medium-sized versions of our software available. So, being a social marketing company, we talk to a lot of other companies that are doing social media, and we hear a couple set of common challenges. One of the challenges that we hear is that I'm overwhelmed. People feel that social media is only a percentage of their job, and it takes a lot of their time to actually be effective. They really have to measure it with the percentage of their job that social media is supposed to be. They have a hard time proving the value. They know social media works. They read articles. They know that it's getting results, but they can't get buy-in from executives because there's not really meaningful data on the same level as other marketing initiatives that they can generate about social media. They feel like they're losing control. They have a lot of channels that they have to keep track of, that they have to both post to and comment and monitor. They have a lot of passwords. They have a lot of users logging in, so they have a lot of those passwords need to be sent around in a lot of different places. They don't really keep track of who's doing what in their social media. And they feel like they're not getting strategic. They feel like they're more in the sort of tactical reactionary range, because if you feel overwhelmed and you can't prove the value and you don't really feel like you have control, you're having a hard time setting quarterly goals and monitoring those goals and generating budgets to meet those goals in the same way you would with other marketing initiatives. Now, having heard that from our clients, we created the Social Marketing Hub. And the Social Marketing Hub is a product that allows you to publish, manage, measure, and engage across all of your social media channels. When we say social media channels, we're talking about the most important social media channels: Facebook, Foursquare, Twitter, Flickr, WordPress, YouTube, SlideShare. There's actually a couple more that are not listed here. But basically, we continue to monitor and add social media channels as they come up to the Social Marketing Hub, so that you just have to worry about creating great content. We worry about the distribution with a tool that you use. And just to quickly go over what the Social Marketing Hub does, There's a little bit of context. Without the hub, you're manually publishing in different places over and over again. You're responding in different places. You're changing passwords. With the hub, this is done all in one place, where you're publishing all at once to dozens, hundreds of channels, however many channels you have. Your permissioning and access is centralized. So you're not sending around passwords. You aren't having people have access to things that they shouldn't have access to. So you can have people who have access to reporting but don't have access to publishing, and vice versa. Whatever your workflow is, the hub is flexible enough to match. You're not emailing passwords around. You're able to track what each user does or hasn't done. You're allowed to create tasks and assign responsibility to your multiple social media contributors. You're allowed to measure more effectively. Without the hub, you're measuring, you're calculating, you're getting metrics across different channels, you're logging into different places to get numbers and trying to make them sort of match up and look at them. In the hub, all the numbers, all the metrics are seen in one place. All the data is housed in one place. And it allows for a really strong engagement tool. You're allowed to log in to one place to see all your comments, all the feedback that you've gotten across social media, and continue to sort of respond and continue the conversation in one place rather than sort of decentralized, disparate places. And it really allows you to gain control of your social media, centralize and evolve to that strategic social media the same way that you are strategic about your other marketing initiatives, and really measure success so you can make data-driven decisions on your social media rather than sort of, hunch-driven social media. So I encourage everyone to come see the hub in action. We have a demo every week or every other week talking about the hub and going over it, and you can actually see someone publish something to the hub. And the next one is April 14th at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll be running it. The tinyurl.com is tinyurl.com/hub demo. I'll email out this presentation after the webinar, so you'll be able to see that, and you'll be able to register. And we welcome you to check out the hub and see what it can do for you. And with that, I am going to go ahead and make Susan the presenter and have her start talking about 30-minute social media marketing. So give me 1 second, and okay, Susan, you're all set.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Sal. It's great to be here today talking to everybody about a subject that I am incredibly passionate about, which is social media marketing. And I'm going to talk about some of the topics in my latest book, 30-Minute Social Media Marketing. That's going to show you basically how to build your brand and your business fast, free, cheap, and really get results. So the first thing we need to talk about, though, to do that is I want to back up a second and remember that not everybody here is, whoops, you skipped a slide. There we go. Not everybody here is at the same level of social media marketing knowledge. So I just want to set the stage and say that you need to understand going into this that every minute you spend on social media activities can help your brand and your business. Every minute that you're not there is a missed opportunity that a competitor is very happy to take advantage of. So you're thinking, okay, social media marketing, great, I know we need to do it, but really I can't convince my executives that they need to invest more money. I need proof. Well, here's proof from a big company, a big brand, Harry Potter. A couple of years ago when the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, when the idea came to the team at Universal Studios, they needed to get the word out. Cindy Gordon was the VP of marketing at the time, and she was tasked with the responsibility of spreading the word about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So instead of investing millions of dollars on Super Bowl ads and all kinds of marketing gimmicks, she decided to contact the 7 most popular Harry Potter bloggers, told them that she was having a midnight webinar, and invited them to attend. At that time, they all dialed in and on their computers, very excited to see what this news was, and she announced that the Wizarding World of Harry Potter was coming. Within 1 minute, it had already been blogged about. It was already out on the social web. And within 24 hours, it's estimated that 350 people around the world had heard about it, all by telling 7 people. All right, so that's a big business example. How can small businesses do the same thing? You're thinking, I don't have the reach of Harry Potter. I don't have those kinds of deep pockets. I don't already have that kind of brand recognition. Well, a lot of you have probably already heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's a great small business example. This is someone who worked for his father's wine store in Springfield, New Jersey. And one day he had an idea to start a blog for the business. His father said, sure, go ahead. Doesn't matter to me. That's fine. Didn't really even know what it was. Gary starts the blog, eventually adds video content to it. And because he's so passionate about his subject and is so enigmatic, people started talking about these videos. Word started to spread. The buzz online spread far and wide. And today, his little wine store does $50 million a year in business, with over half of those sales coming online. And he has become a sought-after speaker about social media. He's got a multi-million-dollar, multi-book deal about social media, and it all started with a blog. Now, when you think about social media success, you have to think about it as a tool for building long-term, sustainable, organic growth. And that's where the power of social media comes from. You have to think of it as a brand-building tool where you have to be consistent in your message, your image. You have to set customer expectations based on your brand promise. You have to meet those expectations in every customer interaction, or consumers will be confused and they'll turn away from your brand. They won't know what to expect from you anymore. They won't feel secure. They won't trust your brand, and they'll turn away from it. And that has to do with your social media conversations and your content as well. You have to be willing to let the audience take control. That's something that large companies can't do. There are just too many chefs in the kitchen, and there's a hierarchy of decision-making that makes big businesses slow to react, and it's something that small businesses can do quickly because they can be so flexible. They don't have to go through those hierarchies. As I always say, big businesses can't get out of their own way. So I explain it as the 3 C's of social media marketing. There's a right way and a wrong way to do social media marketing if you want to succeed. And I break it into conversation, content, and control. First, conversation. The wrong way is to try to stop it. The right way is to let it flow. Let people talk about your brand. Harry Potter, this is a brand that wasn't built by the marketing behind the brand. In the very early days, it's a brand that was built very, very much by the online conversation, people who loved it and talked about it. When it comes to content, you have to share it. You have to allow people to share it. Put it with a Creative Commons license on it. Don't copyright protect it. Don't put a gateway for people to view that content. Let it spread without a barrier. And in terms of control, like we talked about before, large businesses have trouble. They can't give up control. But if you can let the conversation and your content spread, you'll benefit from it. And again, we go back to the Harry Potter example. I use that one a lot. I wrote a book about the Harry Potter brand, so it's one that is near and dear to my heart. But it's a fantastic example of how the social web can catapult a little brand, in this case a children's fantasy book, into a global phenomenon. In the early days of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling and Scholastic tried to stop the online conversation. They sent cease and desist letters to bloggers and people who wrote fan fiction. Well, guess what? They quickly realized by letting people take control of the online conversation, the brand would grow so much bigger. You need to do the same thing. Let people take control. It doesn't matter if you have a brand the size of Harry Potter or a brand the size of Wine Library in Springfield, New Jersey. Let people make the brand their own to become emotionally connected to it. On the flip side, a good example of someone who made a big mistake several years ago is Dell, who at one point there was a sales manager from a Dell kiosk who sent a letter to consumers, which at the time was one of the biggest blogs, basically sharing his, what he called the 22 confessions of a former Dell sales manager, where he shared all kinds of secrets of what Dell sales managers are taught to do to try to get people to buy more and try to get them to spend as much as possible. So consumers published it on their blog. Well, Dell didn't like it. Dell sent an email message to consumers saying, take that blog post down. Well, consumers decided not to listen to what Dell said, and they published the letter from Dell. So now Dell is really mad. In the meantime, this story is spreading all over the social web. Everyone is blogging about it. I blogged about it. Everyone is talking about it. It's being shared everywhere. So now Dell is really mad. So now they send an email with their attorney getting involved saying, take it down or we're going to sue you, basically. So consumer publishes that letter. Now Dell realizes, whoa, this story is everywhere. We can't try to control a conversation like this. That's a big mistake. So on their own blog, they ultimately published what they call Dell's 23 Confessions, where they, quote unquote, said, we blew it, because they realized trying to control the conversation is a mistake. Well, so then you're thinking, well, what if they do say something bad? What about what happened with Dell? People are going to say negative things about your brand on the social web. It's inevitable. So you have three choices. You can either follow the 3Fs, flight, fight, or flood. You can either ignore it, consider the source. A lot of times a negative comment on a blog that's not well trafficked or on a forum that has very, very few people looking at it will just die. It will fade away. And rather than stoking the fire, let it fade away. On the flip side, what if someone says something about your brand on a really popular website or blog and it's getting a lot of exposure? Well, then you really need to join the conversation. You need to fight against it and try to steer the conversation in the right direction. Try to defend yourself. And then finally, you have the opportunity to basically flood the internet with more of your amazing content to try to bury those negative results in keyword searches so that people don't find them in years to come. So you have to think about social media. It's a lot more than just Twitter. It's a lot more than just a blog. There are all these various ways that we can get involved in the conversation. And think of it more as, particularly for small business owners, you don't have a huge team to help you. You don't have the money to invest. Well, if you do have employees, get them involved. Use your internal brand advocates. If they believe in your brand, they'll want to talk about it. There are so many different ways, even if you have a small team, that people can get involved. You just have to make sure that employees understand that they can speak in their own voices and they can advocate the brand, but they have to do it in a way that is personable, that supports the brand promise, and but at the same time allows them to have their own personality. I always say Zappos can do it, you can do it too. Here's Zappos' Twitter policy. This really truly is it. Be real and use your best judgment. Now, if Zappos can let its employees go out and join the online conversation, so can you. But the thing is, Zappos employees are such brand advocates that the company can feel somewhat comfortable in that policy. Are your employees the right type of internal brand advocates that you can basically set them free online to talk about your brand? If they're not, then you need to work on your internal branding first. But they can be one of the most powerful forms of word-of-mouth marketing, so use them. Now, when it comes time to go outside and start finding where you should be spending time on the social web, your first step really truly is to go out and find your best audience. Where are they already spending time? You're wasting your time if you're not hanging out in the same places that your target audience is hanging out. You need to go out and find where they are, type keywords that they would type into their own search engines, follow the links that you find, look for social destinations, and join the conversation. This is where you start building expectations for you and your brand before you even start trying to bring them back to your own content. You need to try to build your band of brand advocates across the web, and that doesn't necessarily happen on your own blog or on your own Twitter feed, at least not at first. You need to go out and find both your consumer audience and online influencers who will talk about your brand, who you can build relationships with, and will become loyal to you. A great example is the Roger Smith Hotel. This is a small boutique hotel in New York City. Now, how is this little hotel going to compete with the Marriott Marquis of the world? They didn't have the budget. They didn't have the money to spend on advertising. So instead, they turned to the social web, and they looked specifically at using Twitter and connecting with online influencers to help them build their brand and build word-of-mouth marketing about the Roger Smith Hotel. So They focused on social media online influencers, people in the social media world who have a lot of followers who listen to them. And they connected with these people and suggested that they stay at the Roger Smith Hotel next time they're in New York City, offered discounts or what have you, to try to get these people to stay at the Roger Smith Hotel. Well, some of them took the Roger Smith Hotel up on the offer, stayed at the hotel, really liked it, and went back and tweeted about it to their tens of thousands of followers, and word started spreading quickly. Next, the Roger Smith Hotel started using Twitter to offer special discounts. They created a special Twitter kiosk in the hotel. Customers or guests who make reservations and find the hotel through Twitter are given a special welcome when they get to the hotel to check in. So here's this little hotel in an extremely competitive market that was able to carve out its niche thanks to Twitter and thanks to finding the right audience and connecting with them. Now, your second step is your content. Of course, we all hear this all the time. You have to have amazing content. But you have to remember that content has to be useful and meaningful to the target audience. If it's not, they're going to ignore it. It's just going to be clutter. You can't interrupt them. You have to enhance their online experience. And most importantly, you have to be accessible and acknowledge other people. It's not all about you. So the first step to publishing your content is developing what I call your core branded online destination. This is your central place on the social web where all of your business and brand social web activities will lead back to. So you start with that core branded online destination. I would recommend a blog because it's so search engine friendly. And then in time, particularly for small businesses that have to focus on one aspect of their social media marketing policy at a time, you start with this core branded online destination and then slowly branch out and diversify your online profile so that people can self-select how they want to interact with your brand across the social web. Not everybody likes to read blogs. Not everybody likes to watch videos on YouTube. So ultimately, you want to surround people with branded content. Now, back to the thought of using a blog as your core branded online destination. The reason I recommend it is because of the search engine optimization potential. How do people find businesses today? They don't pick up the yellow pages. They go to Google. And social media marketing can create a huge benefit to your business in terms of driving search traffic, particularly from a blog. Imagine you have a website with 10 pages. That's 10 ways that Google can find you. Now imagine that you add a blog to that and publish one blog post every day for a year. Now you have 365 plus 10 ways for Google to find you. Now imagine that content is amazing. It's what I call share-worthy content that people like, find meaningful, find useful, and want to share with their own audiences. Imagine that during the course of that year you were spending time looking for your target audience online, connecting with them, building relationships with them, and you start sharing your amazing content with them, slowly bringing them back to your core branded online destination where you can further the relationship with them. Well, now some of these people are going to want to share your blog posts with their own followers. People might blog about your blog posts. The point is that content is going to slowly make its way across the social web, and you'll have all kinds of incoming links coming into your blog, all these different ways for people to find you. So you've gone from 10 entry points to potentially hundreds or thousands of entry points in 1 year. And that's the kind of search benefit that you really can't ignore. You'd be crazy not to do it. Now, Naked Pizza is a great example of a company that offers content in a manner that people like. Naked Pizza started out as a small pizza place in Louisiana, and they couldn't afford to spend money on job pack advertising anymore, or advertising in newspapers and circulars. They just weren't getting the return that they needed. They were starting to get desperate. So they turned to Twitter, and they started to use Twitter and started to try to connect with people in their area to try to spread the word about Naked Pizza. So they offered discounts. Today lead directly to sales. and they integrated Twitter into their point-of-sale system. Today they take orders via Twitter. They set up kiosks in their stores for Twitter. And all of their direct mail content that they used to send now is all sent through Twitter. So it didn't happen overnight, but in time, Naked Pizza grew. They have actually reported 68% of single-day sales have come directly from Twitter. And their business has grown. Now it's a franchise. And this is a company that at one point was desperate, and thanks to leveraging Twitter now is highly successful. Now, step 3, research. You definitely cannot operate in a silo when it comes to social media marketing. You need to know what your competitors are doing, but you also need to know what other companies are doing that are great, and see how you can apply similar tactics and strategies to your own business. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. You always have to be listening. Listening is one of the most important things, so that you know, and watch your analytics so that you know what kind of content your audience wants, and you can keep giving them more of it. I have another great small business example from my book, and this one is a small bakery in Boston. Now, a lot of people would probably think at first, how is a bakery, sort of like a pizza place, how is a bakery going to leverage social media marketing, a little local bakery to build a business? Well, Takes for Occasions did it in less than a year using Facebook. So, Kelly Delaney, the owner of Takes for Occasions, she decided she was going to spend some time focusing on Facebook. She spends 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes midday, and 10 minutes at the end of the day on Facebook and doing social media activities. That's it. And in the 1 year since she started focusing on Facebook, her business has grown 25%, and she's saved $10,000 in marketing expenses. Now, what does she do on Facebook that makes such a difference? Well, she gets her customers involved. She publishes pictures of their cakes. She has what she has identified as a cake of the week, and she'll publish a picture of that. Her customers can also publish pictures of their own cakes, which gets them involved. They love seeing their cakes published. And this is one of those bakeries like you'd see on the Food Network. They make these amazing cakes, not the ones that most of us make through the Betty Crocker box mix we get at the store. These cakes are gorgeous. So people love seeing their cakes on the Facebook site. The local Boston media has picked up on some of their cakes of the week, and actually the bakery has gotten a lot of publicity in Boston media from it. They have a van that they take around their local area, and they'll put on Facebook, our van is at such and such a street. We're giving away free cookies. Stop by and get one. And so people will stop by and get them. They will put on Facebook that they're having, the next hour we're giving away free cupcakes at the store. Stop by. They use Facebook as a place for testimonials. This is a place where, let's say that you're having a wedding and you're trying to pick a place to make your cake. So you go to the Takes for Occasions Facebook page and see person after person talking about how great the cakes were. You see all these pictures of the cakes, and it's just really positive reviews and feedback that drives business. And step 4, you need to give more than you receive. You can't just talk about yourself. You have to publish useful, meaningful, share-worthy content. You have to engage with people, ask questions, be real, interact. Again, you can't operate in a silo. And then next, you have to figure out what your customers want and deliver more of that information. No one cares about you. It's with all aspects of marketing and copywriting and marketing communications. It's not what's important to you. It's what's important to your customers. So leave corporate rhetoric at the door. Be accessible and be human, and show people that they mean something to you. Provide valuable content that they want. Think of it this way. If all you do on the social web is talk about yourself, no one's going to want to hang out with you. It's just like if you're at a party or a networking event and you're stuck talking to someone who just keeps talking about themselves the whole time. You're going to want to leave this person and avoid them for the rest of the night. It's the same thing on the social web. If all you do is talk about yourself, no one's going to want to listen to you anymore. I always suggest using the 80-20 rule of marketing, but applying it to your social media participation, where However much time you spend on the social web, divide that up so 80% or more is not self-promotional, and 20% or less is self-promotional. That's a good balance, and your audience is unlikely to feel like you're just selling to them all the time if you stick to that balance. Now, another example is a dentist in New York City, Dr. Michael Finken, and he never sells. So he's a great example of a business that absolutely does not self-promote online. However, he has grown his business through Twitter, and again, without self-promoting. He has an office in Midtown Manhattan. Again, this is an area where it's incredibly competitive, and let's face it, if you've got a dentist, unless something terrible happens, it's unlikely you're going to switch. So it's hard for a lot of dentists to get new clients. So he started a blog, and he just puts interesting stories and information from his office in it. He commutes on the train every day into the city for work. He bought a laptop, and when he feels inspired, not every day, but when he feels inspired, he will write a blog post. And they're fun. Some of them he's got a banter from the chair series that he does, and it's just fun, interesting content. He linked his blog to Twitter and Facebook. Again, these are important things. You need to figure out things that you can automate. I offer tons and tons of tools and suggestions in my book, but you need to automate processes when you can to save you time. And he also uses tools like Monitor to find conversations related to dentistry happening in his local area on Twitter, and then he jumps into the conversation. He's told me some stories about people who tweeted, my tooth is killing me, my dentist can't see me until Monday, and it was a Friday afternoon, and I don't know what to do. So he jumps into the conversation and doesn't say, come and see me. Instead, he says, here's what you can do. This is what I think is wrong. Make sure you tell your dentist such and such. And within a couple of months of starting his Twitter activities, he had already gotten 4 new clients. And it's just from reaching out to people, not self-promoting, but just providing useful, trustworthy information. And then fifth, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like we talked about before, you start with a core branded online destination and spread the tentacles. Try to ultimately diversify your social media presence. But remember, quality always trumps quantity. And it's better to have 1,000 Twitter followers who are very interested in what you have to say, retweet your content, talk about you, and spread the word, than it is to have 10,000 followers who click the follow button and then you never hear from them again. Don't look at it as a popularity contest. Look at it as an effort to build quality relationships that can drive that long-term, sustainable, organic growth that you need to build your brand and your business. A good example of diversifying your presence is another company, Golden Tee Golf. This is a company that makes a video game that's played in bars. And they use YouTube. A year or two ago, they decided they weren't getting any visits to their website. They just really, business was very static, and they realized that they needed to implement some social media marketing into their mix. So they started a YouTube channel. They actually connected it to the game. So if a player makes a hole-in-one, a little message pops up saying, would you like to upload this to the Golden Tee Golf YouTube channel? And they can upload a video of their hole-in-one. They also have a Facebook page where they engage with users. People can publish status updates where they're playing the game at any time. And they use tools like Google Alerts and TweetDeck to stay on top of real-time conversations and connect with people who are playing the game. So what then are the secrets? How can you be successful using social media marketing? Well, first of all, you have to forget everything you know about marketing. And I've been in marketing for 20 years, and so for me to say something like that, it must really be true. You have to just forget all of the interruption marketing that we've learned and that has worked for decades. You have to really think more like a publisher than a marketer and think of how you can add value. You have to remember that if you build it, they won't necessarily come. If you have a blog or a Twitter feed, people won't come unless you give them a reason to. And as we talked about, you have to remember it's not about you. You have to let the audience take control of the conversation, make your brand their own, become emotionally involved with it, and that's how you bring build brand loyalty and ultimately brand advocacy. And most importantly, remember the long-term strategy, just like brand building. The 3 steps of brand building are consistency, persistence, and restraint. And those exact same steps apply to social media marketing too. In the book, I offer the 10 next steps to build your brand in your business, and I've got them basically quoted here to give you an idea of what you can do next. What should you do? What's the order of how you can start to build your own social media presence? And I'll go over them quickly. You're going to want to identify your goal and figure out what your brand position is. What word do you want to own in consumers' mind? And how do you want to position yourself against competitors so that you can carve out your niche on the social web? Figure out what that one word or phrase is that you want to own and make it your brand promise to consumers. Next, you have to create the messages and experiences that consistently communicate that brand promise. You have to go out and find your best audience. You need to start integrating your marketing, both online and offline tactics, so everything feeds off of one another. Surround consumers with your branded content. And you need to join the online conversation. Start building relationships with people who ultimately, hopefully, will become your brand followers and advocates. And you need to let them take control. You need to let them experience your brand in their own ways. You need to be real and honest. Stay true to your brand promise. Don't forget consistency is very important. Of course, you want to test and analyze your results and try again. And again, make sure you're consistent and persistent, but exercise restraint. Quality trumps quantity. So, a couple of ideas. Every business is different, so by no means are these sample 30-minute plans what you should go and do this afternoon, but they just give you some ideas of what you can actually accomplish in 30 minutes each day. In this presentation, I've given you a couple of examples of businesses, small businesses, that spend just 30 minutes a day and have had significant results on their bottom line and on their brands thanks to just 30 minutes each day on the social web. So you can do it too. Of course, every additional minute can only help, but if all you can commit to right now is 30 minutes, it's better than nothing, and it can drive results. For example, you can spend 15 minutes. I divide activities into 4 categories to try to help you plan out those 30 minutes or however much time you want to spend on the social web each day to help you plan out and create basically a plan of how to divide that time. So we've got content creation, content sharing, connections, and community building. Spend 15 minutes writing a blog post. Of course, if you've never blogged before, it will take a little longer than that when you're first starting. But once you get used to it and you get good at blogging, you can create a good blog post in 15 minutes. Spend 5 minutes reading and retweeting Twitter posts. Spend 5 minutes connecting with people on Facebook, or take 5 minutes to grab the code for the Facebook like button on the Facebook website and add it to your website or blog. Spend 5 minutes responding to comments on your blog to try to build a community around your blog. Another plan could be 10 minutes publishing tweets announcing a special discount. You can spend 5 minutes sharing that, asking your followers to help you spread the word. Tell them you'll give them an additional 10% off if they retweet your discount offer. Spend 10 minutes connecting, answering questions on LinkedIn, a great way to establish your expertise with an audience of people who are actively looking for the type of information that you can provide. And in terms of community building, spend 5 minutes in a forum related to your business, answering questions and joining in discussions and publishing comments. The most important thing is just that you get started. Because, like I said at the very beginning of this presentation, every minute you are not on the social web, your competitor is more than happy to take that opportunity to seize the potential opportunities that time leaves open to them. So, there's tons more information in my book. And also, for webinar attendees, if you follow me on Twitter and then tweet that message, I will direct message a free bonus chapter that is not in the book to you, which basically gives a 30-day social media marketing jumpstart plan to help you if you have almost no or no social media presence at all. This will help you really ramp up quickly. And, of course, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to connect with me on the social web. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Susan. That was great. That was really informative. That was awesome. So we have a couple people that are asking to repeat that offer. So if you want to go ahead and maybe backtrack and just let them know that free chapter offer.
Sure. There you go. All they have to do is follow me so I can direct message them, and then tweet that or send me a direct message, whichever they prefer. But then I will email or direct message the bonus chapter, which is not in the book. So it's totally new and different.
Awesome. So that's great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the presentation back and we're going to answer some questions. We have a ton of questions that have come in. I just want to go over a couple more things before we get to the questions. And again, you can submit your questions via Twitter at Pound Awareness Inc. or you can submit them in the WebEx chat. And I really recommend, if you're interested in this book, there's a couple things you can do. Write to Susan on Twitter. You can get that free bonus chapter. We have Chapter 4 available on the Awareness website at awarenessnetworks.com, a free download. And we'll also, after the presentation, we'll be sending out a link to purchase Susan's book because it's really great. And actually, one question, Susan, that came up is the cake examples from your book, because there was a couple people that actually wanted more information on that.
That one is in the book. Yep, that's
okay.
One of my favorite ones because. Who thinks a little bakery is going to find success and save $10,000 in 1 year on the social web? But they did it, and they only spend 30 minutes a day on the social web. It's a great example, and it is in the book, yeah.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to actually go over just a couple final offers, or a couple final housekeeping items, and then we'll get to questions. Sorry, just getting to the right slide. Okay, so if you enjoyed today's session and you want to know more, you want to keep following us at Awareness, or you want more information on the Awareness product, there's a couple things you can do. You can join our Facebook fan page, and our Facebook fan page is actually called Social Media Marketing Best Practices. And, we probably subscribe to the 95-5 rule. So 95% of what we do is actually just tips and information on social media marketing best practices and marketing in general. And then we have, 5% of our information is about sort of awareness as a company. Follow us on Twitter at Awareness Inc. or visit our blog at awarenessnetworks.com. You can click on our community page and visit our blogs. And same thing, we're blogging about relevant social media stories and features and functions and news. So just to let everyone know, our next social media webinar, not our demo webinar, but a webinar like this, will be Social Marketing IQ, Insights into the Competitive Landscape. So what we've actually done at Awareness is we've built a social marketing IQ test that you can take and sort of say where your social marketing and your company's social marketing, stands in relation to others. You can take the test, you'll get a score, then you can get a customized report based on your score on sort of where you are right now and sort of opportunities you have to sort of move up and improve your social marketing situation. So this webinar actually goes over sort of the initial 1,000 people or so that have taken that test. So I'll email out this presentation after. You can go to the link and register for this webinar and see sort of the insights that we've gained from the test. And you can also take the test yourself prior to attending the webinar. So there is that. So just keep in mind that's April 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern. And now we're going to field some questions. Again, questions can be submitted via WebEx chat or on Twitter at Pound Awareness Inc. I guess I'll start, Susan. I have a couple questions that have already come in. One is a lot of the presentation examples were B2C. So do you have any sort of B2B examples or B2B specific tips, or if you just want to speak to sort of some of the same best practices that you've gone over, but in relation to B2B marketing?
Yeah, well, I think I have a couple of examples in the book, and one of them is a gentleman by the name of Mark Amtower, who his business is in B2B and B2G, business to government. And one of the things that he said to me that I thought was really, really interesting is that particularly with B2B, where you're always trying to establish your expertise and your credibility, you really always need to focus on your strengths. So lead with your strengths. So LinkedIn, for example, is a great place to spend time for B2B social media marketing. Join some groups related to your business. Start a group. If those groups allow you to use the news feature, start feeding your blog via that news feature into those groups so that automatically fresh content that's relevant automatically appears in those groups in the timeline so that those interested people can see it. Get on LinkedIn Answers and start answering questions related to your business. LinkedIn is such an amazing tool for B2B. And there are so many aspects of it that people don't really leverage. And again, I talk about it a lot in the book, but those are just a couple of the things that you can do to jumpstart a B2B social media marketing presence.
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean, I'll throw an example in there as well. Awareness. So the company that's putting on these webinars, we are leveraging social media. We're leveraging LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of them. We're putting our content out there, and we have webinars like this. We have white papers, things, good content, relevant content. It's not always about just awareness, and we put it out there on the social web, and we just want to get in front of people. And you know
what? Awareness also does a great job of connecting. You're a great example again because you connect with online influencers and experts in their various fields that can provide additional useful information to your target audience. So you guys are a great example.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. So next question that I have here is basically at the beginning you were talking about finding the right channels and the right channels that contain the audience that you want to reach. How do you do that? What do you use to do that? What tools, what research, what information do you use?
Well, the best place is to get on Google and act just like one of your customers would. You know your customers better than anyone. So what do they want from a business like yours? Go out to Google and start typing in the same types of keywords that they would use to find a business or products like yours. Start following the links. Look for social destinations. Look for places where your audience is already spending time and where they can join the conversation, whether it be blogs, Facebook pages, forums, and just join the conversation. And you'd be amazed at what you can find if you pretend to be one of your own customers. That really is the best grassroots way of trying to find where those people are spending time. And then ask your customers. If you have current customers, if this isn't a brand new business, ask your customers, where do they like to spend time? In time, when you start to build your own audience, you can reach out via Twitter. You can post a poll on your blog or on Facebook, and you can ask people, where do you spend time online? And you'd be surprised how many of them will answer you. So, but it all starts with just pretending you're the customer and seeing where those searches lead you.
Awesome. I have a lot of questions coming in about blogs. I know that in your presentation you put forward the idea that the blog is sort of like your centralized content generator that sort of, the other social channels and other channels in general sort of feed off of and will take part of as their content. And I'm getting a lot of questions about any tips on writing an effective blog, especially writing an effective blog quickly as you proposed. How often do you blog? We had one person ask if they should be blogging every day, or what is the frequency they should start at and hope to build to. So what are some blog best practices, I guess?
Well, first I'm going to back up a little bit and just clarify by saying, particularly for small business owners who don't have the time or to spend a lot of time on social media and don't have the money to hire people to help them, writing a blog might not be what's best for you. You have to choose a tool that you enjoy or you won't stick with it. It will be absolutely torturous to use it every day. So if you're a small business owner, you don't have anyone to help you, you don't have money to hire someone, and the thought of writing a blog is like nails on a chalkboard, well, then by all means, try some other tools. Try Twitter, try Facebook, and use the tool that you are going to stick with. Because if you're using a tool that you hate, it's going to show through. You have to be passionate not only about the topic, but you have to enjoy what you're doing, or everyone will be able to tell that it's just not real and passionate. So with that said, I always recommend a blog just because, like I said in the presentation, it's so incredibly search engine friendly. Now, when it comes to how often should you blog, well, it depends. Of course, the more you can blog, the more great content you're putting out there, the more people might link to you. How realistic is that? Well, it depends on how big your company is and how much help you have and how much you like writing. Certainly, try to update your blog at least 3 times a week. If you can't, don't kill yourself over it, but by all means, try 3 times a week. If you can do it every day, fantastic. But again, quality trumps quantity. You want to have 3 good posts rather than 5 that are really just not very good at all. So when it comes to length, try to stay over 300 words. Try to just add value. Say something interesting that will help people. If you can say that in 300 words, fantastic. If it takes you 600 words to do it, that's okay. But just remember that people aren't going to stick around to hear your message. You need to say it quickly, and you can do that through formatting, using headings, using bulleted lists, or you can do it by just writing very, very succinctly. It all depends on your writing style. But most importantly, you just need to be personable and be honest, because that's what blogs are about. You're not a reporter. You really are just trying to share your expertise and trying to help your audience understand something.
I've got a question here that sort of ties into that. I know that you have sort of the 80-20 rule, and I have a question here that's sort of from John on Twitter. Blog specifically, sort of curated content versus original content. Is there any 80-20 rule, or is there any rule at all for sort of, how you would handle that?
And by curated content, do you think I should take that to mean republished content that was already published elsewhere, or repurposed, something that was just slightly rewritten?
It's probably I'm assuming that they're talking about something that was published elsewhere, but you sort of internalize. You're not just plagiarizing, I would hope.
Right. Well, you certainly never want to republish content. Even if you own it, you don't want to publish it exactly the same way in more than one place, because Google views that as a spam tactic and will lower your search engine rankings. And they've always done this, but since the release of the latest algorithm changes in what's been dubbed Panda, they're punishing websites and blogs even more harshly than they used to when it comes to duplicate content. So you never want to publish duplicate content. Always make sure at least 60% of it has been changed. If you want to use something in more than one place, make sure that it can't be detected as being the same content. Reword everything. Now, with that said, there's certainly no reason why you can't comment on what other people have written and inject your own opinion, expertise, and knowledge to it. Just like reporters quote people, you can certainly quote other sources. The most important thing is attribution, and that's huge in the blogging world. Always cite your sources and link back to them, because that's considered a positive as long as you're not completely copying someone else's content. If you are maybe copying a few sentences as a quote and then adding your own personal opinions and citing your source, so link back, then that is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, sort of I do that a lot in my own blog, the blog that I have on behalf of awareness is, I would call it curated, because I sort of bring an article or something new, that new feature that's come up, and say, hey, here's this new feature, and I'll link to it. Here's a little description of it, and here's my reaction to it. So I think that's where you don't want to just sort of take, here's a new LinkedIn, here's a new feature on LinkedIn, here are the details, this is my blog, the end. It's more to sort of give your take. Is this useful? How does this affect your audience? Things like that. I think a lot of, another way, if you consider sort of retweeting someone as pure curation, where you're just saying, hey, look at this, I think you can sort of get away with a lot of that. What I like to do with the awareness social media is, like I said, if I find something that I think our audience will find useful, these digital marketers, and then, hey, this is something that you should do, I'll go ahead and just retweet it, because it's already been stated, it's out there. I'm just trying to get that content in front of someone. It's already been attributed to the original author, and we're just trying to get it out there and make sure that our audience finds value in our channel.
Exactly, and that type of sharing absolutely is an important part of social media marketing, because with Twitter, there's not enough space. You only got 140 characters. It's pretty unlikely you're going to be able to add your own opinion to it. But retweeting is huge. It's a very, very important part of social media marketing, sharing great content.
Exactly. I have a question here, and this may be our last one before the hour is up, but it sort of talks about sales, putting forward sales transactions on the social web. Some people are sort of saying they feel like it's a no-no to do it all, but I'd like to get your reaction. I know from the presentation it doesn't really seem like you think that's the case, but when is it appropriate to go after the hard sell?
Well, I look at allowing people to purchase products and close a transaction on the social web as basically when you're offering it as a benefit, as an easy way to do something. Here, if you're already on Twitter, you can tweet your order to us right now. You don't have to go off to our other website and log in. Then that's a benefit. That's a good thing. I'm never a fan of the hard sell, so if you're offering the ability to complete a transaction for any purpose other than to make things easier for your customers and add a benefit to them, then you're probably going in the wrong direction. But truly, so many aspects of social media marketing are going toward that model. Facebook, more and more retailers are putting stores right on Facebook. More and more companies are starting to accept orders and close transactions via Twitter. So we're just at the beginning of that, but it's not going to go away anywhere. You just need to offer it as a benefit, not as an in-your-face, buy this right now, click this link.
Oh, hello?
Hi.
Oh, sorry. I thought you dropped off there for a second. No, sorry. Yeah, and I agree. And we've actually, I'll take it even a step further. And, we do a lot of research here, awareness. We read a lot of research, and one of the things that we see all the time is they do surveys about why do you follow a brand? Why do you follow a brand on Twitter? Why do you follow a brand on Facebook? And, there's a lot of people who respond, they want engagement and information. But the number one answer always is, I'm looking to get deals. I'm looking for discounts, coupons, things like that. So I think if you, especially if you're e-commerce or really whatever it is you sell, if you are, making it seem like your social media audience is receiving some kind of offer that they would not normally receive, then that's actually why they're there. So if you have a Facebook page and you have a tab that's all about Facebook-specific deals, purchase via Facebook to get 20% off, whatever it is, in a lot of cases, that's why your audience is there in the first place. So I would not be afraid to sort of, to sell on the social web.
Sure, you have to offer something extra exclusive and make your followers feel like it's worth it to follow you.
Definitely. Okay, I think we're running out of time, so what we're going to do is we're going to follow-up emails to everybody who attended. We will have the presentations available. There's a couple things that you can do: purchase the book, download free chapters, watch the presentation again, obviously take notes. That information will all be emailed out to you. We'll probably get to that tomorrow at some point, depending on how fast you can process it. I'd like to thank Susan again for joining us for a really great webinar. Thanks to the audience for submitting all your questions, and good luck in your social marketing endeavors.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.